Ma is a soon-to-be-released 2019 horror comedy, or comedy horror. To be perfectly frank, I'm not really sure what this falls in. It's really straddling the line between the two, and I'm gonna say that I overall enjoyed it. It was, I'm going to say, surprisingly good, in the sense that I kind of went in with somewhat low expectations. I kind of thought it would be one of those, has an interesting premise, but then flubs it and then just ends up being another cliched horror movie. And while there are shades of that, the main thing for me that sells it is Octavia Spencer's performance. She is the linchpin for this movie. If she was not convincing in her role, I don't think it would have performed nearly as well in regards to how much I could enjoy this movie. So, in the simplest of terms, the movie is about some teenagers who, as you do, they want to party, they want to get drunk, so they go fishing for people to buy alcohol for them. One lady does this and decides to take it one step further. In that case, it's giving them a space in her basement to party. And then this escalates with them going there more often, having bigger and grander and more elaborate parties, and this kinda has a, get the ball rolling exponential effect where eventually she gets so entangled in their lives and becomes a bit obsessive about them and what they do, and is a bit stalkerish, and that's kind of where the horror aspect comes in, because if it was just about kids getting drunk, then I don't think this would appeal to a ton of people outside of, well, kids who get drunk and just go to the theater to do nothing. So, with that in mind, I find the comedy to be pretty good. Not, super intelligent or witty, but fairly good. The acting is, to be honest, again, Octavia Spencer just carries most of this film. Most of the actors and actresses are anywhere from, serviceable at best to pretty bad. So it's not really their movie. This is kind of like a demonstration for her to play this character. And the thing is, I'll say that I actually liked a lot is, outside of one instance in the movie, there aren't any artificial jump scares. I say that in the sense of, most movies when they have these jump scares, they're going to have a bunch of violence, play like a sting, you know what I'm talking about, right? So, most movies will add that to a scene that doesn't actually have that kind of sound going on, and it just isn't actually scary. In this movie, there are some scenes where loud things happen, but they don't, add those extra orchestral effects, and it's the characters actually being startled. So even though they're still there, it's not, cranked up for no reason. And there's only one time in the movie in which it is, and I'm like, you know what, the build-up for it was fine. They foreshadowed it earlier, so I can forgive it in that instance. So, it's a horror movie that's a bit more character-driven. It's very character-driven, and that's pretty good. It's fairly funny without detracting from the horror, because some of the horror aspects come as a consequence of comedic moments going awry. And I want to make a distinction with this, because I really didn't like It, the most recent It movie, because I felt like there was no danger because of the comedy. I'm just like, oh, look, a bunch of happy-go-lucky kids, and then they're joking a bunch, and so they're not going to hurt them. Lo and behold, didn't happen. So, keeping that in mind with this movie, the comedy didn't really keep anybody safe, and that's something that I enjoyed in regards to why I would put a line between It and Ma for this one. And that's about most of what I have to say with it. Just the horror is fine. It's mostly suspense and a bit of interesting kind of creepy character moments, and it's just a fun time. I just had a fun time with it. It's not superb. I'm not going to be ranting and raving about it. I'm mainly talking about this because I was able to see an advanced screening a couple days before this was able to come out. So I'd recommend this movie if you're just looking for a fun, just good horror movie. Not the best, it's not going to approach any of my greats. I'm just going to say that it's a fun time. it's hard for me to kind of go more in depth without going into spoiler territory, to be honest. But where I kind of draw this movie when it comes to quality is just it's scary enough to kind of hook the horror fans. It's funny enough to kind of keep, we'll say, the casual crowd placated. And overall, it just delivered on a lot of kind of moments that I was hoping for with this kind of setup. So, outside of, like I said, a lot of the acting isn't great, except for the lead, and a lot of the writing is okay. I'll say, you can kind of tell this movie doesn't have the best when it comes to, like, kid writing. Like, the teenagers don't always talk like teenagers. Like, occasionally they have to take a break from, like, the way that they are kind of joking around to kind of put some exposition, and you can kind of tell the difference between that moment where it's like, oh, hey, teenager talk, oh, hey, the plot talk. And it's noticeable. And that's why I say I'm not going to put this in the upper echelons of this. And you know what? I wouldn't even tell you to rush to the theaters to do this. This is more of like a, hey, you bored? Sure. Want to go to a movie? Why not? Like that. This is actually a perfect Netflix movie. You would absolutely have the best time with a bunch of friends watching it on a couch while drunk. And I had a pretty good crowd for this theater as well. I think I think it helped, for me at least, to kind of laugh along with some of the more absurd moments and get involved with it. So absolutely watch this with other people. You don't even have to watch it in theater. Just wait for it on DVD, wait for it on Netflix, and it's just a good time. So that's my recommendation. And you can look forward to another review like this, because I'm going to be seeing the new Godzilla movie in a few days. So see you next time.